What if the most celebrated exercise for leg strength, the squat, is actually accelerating the damage to your hips and knees? If you are over 60, you've likely been told that squats are essential for maintaining your mobility. But here's the uncomfortable truth for many seniors, especially those dealing with osteoarthritis or cartilage loss. The mechanics of a traditional squat place excessive strain on vulnerable joints. Do you know the feeling? That deep ache or sharp grinding sensation when you try to lower yourself down? The fear that your knees might give way when you try to get up from a low chair? Perhaps your doctor has used the dreaded phrase, bone on bone, and you feel resigned to a life of pain and limitation. This pain isn't just a physical barrier, it's an emotional weight. It fuels the fear of losing your independence. The fear that simple activities like gardening, walking, or playing with grandchildren are slipping away forever. Conventional fitness often fails seniors by insisting on movements that are no longer biomechanically sound for the aging body. But the solution isn't to stop moving. Inactivity leads to muscle atrophy and even greater instability. The solution is to move smarter. We need a movement that builds foundational strength, enhances stability, and revitalizes the hips and knees without the damaging compression of a squat. In functional medicine and elite-level physical therapy, we rely on one specific movement that is a true game changer. It's deceptively simple, requires no equipment, is performed lying comfortably on your back, and focuses on activating the most powerful muscles in your body while sparing your joints. In this guide, I'm going to introduce you to this single extraordinary movement. I will show you how to perform it correctly and introduce 4 variations that systematically rebuild your foundational strength. And make sure you stay with me, because the final variation we cover is crucial for balance. It activates the silent heroes of the hip that are essential for preventing falls, and it's deceptively simple to integrate into your routine. Before we get started, drop your name and where you're watching from in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Let's begin. The movement we are focusing on today is the glute bridge. The first variation is the foundational movement. I call it the joint protector. This is the standard. Bilateral glute bridge. Why is this movement so superior to the squat for rebuilding hips and knees after 60? The answer lies in understanding a condition called gluteal amnesia. We live in a society that sits far too much, over decades. This causes the glute muscles, the powerhouse of your body, to become dormant. They forget how to fire properly. When the glutes are weak, your body compensates. When you walk, climb stairs, or even just stand up, climb stairs, the lower back, and the quadriceps. This leads to overburdened knees, a compressed spine, and tight, painful hips. Squats often reinforce this dysfunctional pattern. If your glutes aren't firing correctly, you will likely squat using your quads and lower back, further straining your joints. The joint protector changes everything. By lying on your back, we remove the vertical load on the spine and the balance requirement. This allows you to focus intently on activating the glutes. It rebuilds the brain-body connection, teaching your hips to become the primary movers again. When the hips are strong, they stabilize the pelvis and reduce the stress transferred down to the knees. The validation for this approach is overwhelming. Research consistently shows a strong correlation between hip extension strength and longevity, walking speed, and balance in seniors. Furthermore, studies in the field of orthopedics suggest that strengthening the glutes is one of the most effective interventions for alleviating the symptoms of knee osteoarthritis, as it improves lower limb alignment and reduces the load on the knee joint. The muscles activated are the gluteus maximus, the largest and most powerful muscle in the body. Studies in the field of orthopedics suggest that strengthening the glutes is one of the most effective interventions for alleviating the symptoms of knee osteoarthritis, and the deep core stabilizers engage to protect the spine. Here is how to perform the joint protector with precision. Lie on your back on a comfortable surface. Bend your knees and place your feet flat on the floor, about hip-width apart. Your feet should be close enough that you can almost touch your heels with your fingertips. Place your arms by your sides, palms down. Before you move, engage your core slightly, gently pressing your lower back toward the floor to stabilize your pelvis. Now, Drive through your heels and squeeze your glutes to lift your hips off the floor. Lift until your body forms a straight line from your shoulders to your knees. Crucially, avoid overarching your lower back. The movement must come from the hips, not the lumbar spine. If you feel a pinch in your lower back, you are lifting too high or using the wrong muscles. Hold the top position for a slow count of 3 seconds, focusing intensely on maximum glute contraction. Slowly lower your hips back to the floor with control. Aim for 10 to 12 repetitions. The real-life benefits are immediate. Climbing stairs will feel less strenuous on your knees. You will be able to rise from a chair with greater ease, and you will reduce lower back pain by allowing the glutes to do their job. A pro tip for this exercise: focus on the squeeze, not the height. It is better to have a lower bridge with maximum glute activation than a high bridge that strains the back. The intention is everything. Now that we have reactivated the glutes, let's move to the second variation, which specifically targets knee stabilization. I call this the knee revitalizer. This is the narrow stance isometric bridge. Why is this variation so effective for knee pain? While the standard bridge strengthens the hips, this variation focuses on the muscles that directly control knee alignment. Specifically, it targets the inner thighs, adductors, and the vastus medialis oblique (VMO), the teardrop-shaped muscle on the inside of the knee. Weakness in the VMO is a primary contributor to poor kneecap tracking, leading to the grinding and pain associated with osteoarthritis. Furthermore, this variation utilizes the power of isometrics, contracting the muscles without changing their length. Isometric exercise is an extraordinary tool for building strength around painful joints because it allows you to load the muscle without the friction of movement. It enhances neuromuscular control and stability. The validation for isometrics is robust. Research in sports science has shown that isometric contractions can improve tendon health and increase muscle activation more effectively than dynamic movements, especially in rehabilitation settings. By holding the bridge and adding the inward squeeze, we are creating a stable environment that allows the knee stabilizers to strengthen safely. The muscles activated include the glutes, but with an increased demand on the adductor muscles of the inner thigh and the VMO, which work together to maintain the squeeze. Here is how to perform the knee revitalizer. Start in the same position as the standard bridge, lying on your back, knees bent. This time, bring your feet and knees close together. Place a small, rolled-up towel or a soft ball between your knees. Drive through your heels and lift your hips into the bridge position, maintaining that straight line from shoulders to knees. Now, gently squeeze the towel or ball between your knees. You should feel the muscles of your inner thighs and the inside of your quadriceps activate. Instead of repetitions, we are going to hold this position. Focus on the power of stillness. Hold the bridge and the squeeze for 15 to 30 seconds. Breathe normally throughout the hold. Do not hold your breath. Slowly lower your hips back to the floor and release the squeeze. Repeat for 3 to 5 holds. The real-life benefits include significantly reduced knee pain when standing for long periods. You'll notice improved alignment when walking, and you will feel more stable and secure in your knee joints. A pro tip: if you experience any cramping in your hamstrings during the hold, it is a sign that your hamstrings are trying to compensate for weak glutes. Lower your hips slightly and refocus on squeezing the glutes intensely. This should alleviate the hamstring strain. The third variation focuses on maximizing hip strength and addressing the tightness that often limits mobility. I call this the hip rebuilder, or the extended range bridge with slow eccentric lowering, and you will feel more stable and secure in your knee joints. I call this the hip rebuilder. This one focuses on building dynamic strength and improving hip mobility. As we age, the hip flexors, the muscles on the front of the hip, become chronically tight due to excessive sitting. Tight hip flexors inhibit the glutes and restrict hip extension, the ability to move the leg backward. This restriction compromises your walking gait and contributes to lower back pain. Here is how to execute the hip rebuilder. By pushing the hips higher, we create a gentle, dynamic stretch for the tight hip flexors while simultaneously demanding maximum strength from the glutes at their shortest position. Furthermore, we introduce a slow, eccentric phase, the lowering part of the movement. Eccentric training is crucial for building resilient muscles and tendons, and it enhances control and stability. Dynamic stretch for the tight hip flexors, while simultaneously demanding maximum strength from the glutes at their shortest position. Eccentric training is crucial for building resilient muscles and tendons. Research shows that eccentric training is highly effective for improving muscle strength and function in older adults, as it builds strength while teaching the body how to decelerate movement, a key component of preventing falls. The muscles activated are the glutes, and it enhances control and stability. The hip flexors receive a dynamic stretch. Research shows that eccentric training is highly effective for improving muscle strength and function in older adults, and it enhances control and stability. Start in the standard bridge position, feet hip-width apart. Engage your core. Drive through your heels and lift your hips. This time, focus on pushing your hips as high as you can, but only if you can maintain the movement coming from the hips, not the lower back. You should feel an intense contraction in the glutes and a gentle stretch across the front of the hips. Pause at the very top for 2 seconds. Now, the crucial part, the slow eccentric lowering. Slowly lower your hips back to the floor for a count of 5 seconds. Control every inch of the movement. Imagine you are resisting gravity. Aim for 8 to 10 repetitions. Aim for 8 to 10 repetitions. The real-life benefits include a more powerful and efficient walking gait. Imagine you are resisting gravity, and you will build extraordinary control and resilience in your lower body. A pro tip for maximizing the range. As you lift your hips, you can press your hands into the floor for leverage. This can help you achieve a slightly higher bridge while maintaining stability. This brings us to the final variation, the game changer for balance I teased earlier. This is the balance activator, or the single leg glute bridge. Why is this the ultimate progression? Because life happens on one leg at a time. Walking, climbing stairs, stepping off a curb, these are all single leg movements. If you only train with both feet on the ground, you will never develop the stability needed for these functional activities. The single leg glute bridge is an elite level exercise because it challenges not only the strength of the working leg, but also the stability of the entire core and pelvis. When you lift one leg off the ground, your body wants to rotate and tip over. To prevent this, the lateral stabilizers of the hip, specifically the gluteus medius on the side of the hip, must engage intensely. The gluteus medius is the silent hero of balance. Weakness in this muscle is a primary predictor of falls. This exercise directly targets this critical area. The validation for unilateral training is undeniable. Research in fall prevention highlights the importance of single-leg strength and pelvic stability. Studies show that exercises like the single-leg glute bridge activate the gluteus medius significantly more effectively than bilateral exercises. By mastering this movement, you are building a resilient foundation for longevity. The muscles activated include the gluteus maximus of the working leg, under a significantly increased load. The gluteus medius works intensely to stabilize the pelvis, and the deep core rotators engage to prevent the torso from rotating. Here is how to perform the balance activator safely and effectively. Start in the standard bridge position. Lift your hips into a stable, bilateral bridge. Once you are stable, slowly lift your right foot off the floor and extend the leg straight, keeping it in line with your torso. The critical instruction: do not allow your right hip to drop toward the floor. Your pelvis must remain perfectly level, as if you were balancing a glass of water on it. Hold this single leg position for 5 to 10 seconds. Your pelvis must remain perfectly level, maintaining the bridge. Repeat the process with the left leg, keeping it in line with your torso. Hold this single leg position for 5 to 10 seconds. You will feel significantly more stable and confident when walking. You will improve your ability to react quickly if you stumble. Slowly lower the right foot back to the floor, a modification if this is too challenging. If the full single leg bridge causes instability or cramping, use the kickstand modification. Start in the standard bridge. Shift your weight onto your left leg and extend your right leg slightly forward, keeping the heel on the ground for balance. This allows you to perform the bridge with most of the weight on the working leg, while still having some support. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on the journey we've taken with this one simple move. We started with the joint protector, the foundational bridge to reactivate the glutes. We progressed to the knee revitalizer, using isometrics to stabilize the knees. We then explored the hip rebuilder, enhancing strength and mobility with extended range and slow eccentrics. And finally, we mastered the balance activator, the single-leg bridge for ultimate stability. This progression embodies our philosophy of aging smarter, not harder. We have systematically rebuilt the hips and protected the knees without the strain, impact, or risk associated with conventional exercises like squats. These movements are not flashy, but they are powerful because they are foundational. After 60, fitness isn't about chasing extremes. It's about consistency, intention, and focusing on the movements that preserve your independence and enhance your vitality. As you begin integrating these variations into your life, remember our golden rule: pain is not progress. Listen intimately to your body. Start with the foundational movement and only progress when you feel stable and confident. Focus on the quality and control of the movement, not the quantity. If you experience hamstring cramping, take a break, stretch gently, and refocus on glute activation. Consistency is your superpower. A few minutes every day will yield far greater results than an occasional intense workout. And consistency is your superpower. If you have pre-existing spinal conditions, recent surgeries, or acute pain, please consult with your doctor or physical therapist before starting any new regimen. We are often led to believe that joint degeneration, pain, and loss of mobility are inevitable parts of aging. We are told that surgeries and medications are the only solutions, but the truth is far more empowering. Many of the symptoms we call aging are simply the result of muscle imbalances and the neglect of our foundational movement systems. The glute bridge, in its various forms, is your tool to interrupt that process. You have the power to rebuild your hips, stabilize your knees, and revitalize your energy. Getting older is inevitable, but how you move through the next decades of your life, whether with hesitation, pain, and fear, or with confidence, power, and vitality, that is a choice. Choose stability. Choose independence. Choose strength. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 4 variations resonated the most with your needs? Are you struggling more with hip stiffness or knee pain? Drop your thoughts and your commitment in the comments below. I read every single one, and I look forward to supporting you on this journey. Thank you for watching. Be well, and remember to move smarter, today and every day.